to the Hooligan Hangout. We're uh, we're a little unorganized right now. We kind of missed an episode last week, and only have 60% of our members here this week. But hopefully next week we'll be we'll be back.
66.7% actually, if you want to be accurate. Yeah, so Edward's got a lot of stuff going on this week, so unfortunately he won't be able to make it. But and then last week, of course, honestly there really wasn't too much out. One and two, I was out of town. Edward still had a lot of stuff going on in his life. Anthony was, doing his own thing. So, but we're back. We're back this week because there's a pretty important movie we're going to review later on. Stay tuned during the week. But first off, we're going to get through our news. Anthony, care to share?
Our news.
All our news. And we got a pretty big news story. Johnny
Oh,
Cage.
okay. So Karl Urban. I don't have the news article pulled up right now. My phone's being done, but Urban is going to be playing Johnny Cage in the next Mortal Kombat movie. How do you feel about that?
That's kind of funny to me because I imagine Johnny Cage is this like young Sprouse dude that's very like physical. He's
Yeah,
out, and I don't know if like Carl Urban is, or yeah, Carl Urban is very like built like that for one, but two, he's not young. You know what I mean?
yeah. He's not at all.
He's not that
And
young, so
it's
they're
weird
going
because
kind of a
like
different direction with that.
the only thing I know him from, well, really, like the main thing I know him from is The Boys, and so like trying to think of that character as Johnny Cage, it's really weird.
That's why he's an actor, bro.
That's true.
He's got range probably, but
I feel like he'll
Judge
pull off.
Dredd. He can play those menacing characters though,
Yeah,
those hard
yeah,
nosed
really
characters like
good.
that. But Johnny Cage doesn't he joke a lot and stuff? I'm not the
That's
Mortal Kombat
the thing.
expert.
I don't see Carl Urban as like a jokester. Like I don't see him delivering funny lines.
They're about to be. It's about to be like a menacing, like
Yeah,
brooding Johnny Cage. How would you feel about that?
I'd be okay with it. The only other thing, the Mortal Kombat movie was good. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't know.
Low key forgettable, a little
Yeah,
bit.
and I just don't think it needed a second movie. And now they're bringing like a pretty big like Carl Urban's. He's a pretty big actor. I'm surprised he accepted this role. Like to be honest,
You think so? You think they should have went with like a newcomer or someone that needed
yeah.
a job?
Just based on the other actors that they used in the first movie, you know.
Yeah, I think it
But
would.
I don't know. I
I
guess we'll see. I
I
just
think it.
wasn't a huge fan of the first one. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I wasn't a huge fan of either, but I mean, the fight scenes are pretty sick, and I think that he can pull off like any stunts that they ask him to do. I think he can pull off the brooding type. But I haven't seen the range from him, and like obviously, like leave suggestions in the comments. Anything of his movies that are like more on might be
Yeah.
more on this page of this role, but and we'll look at it. But for now, just from what I've personally seen, I don't. I just see him as that brooding, brooding character. He's not really happy go lucky or anything like that.
Right.
But
So
um,
definitely an unexpected cast, but I think he can pull it off. We'll just have to see.
unexpected, but a welcome one,
Yeah.
welcome
Yeah.
addition. So transitioning into my news, which were both, it's a big deal for the industry and all what we talk about. So the Hollywood writers went on strike after 16 years. Finally, they finally broke, and the union, the labor group, or just they broke down. There was a work stoppage. I think last Tuesday, like literally right after we recorded all our stuff. We usually record on Tuesday
Right.
nights here, but so like stuff like this, like of course the writers, I believe they're asking for like 3% of contract pay because they're not even getting 3% of that. Like movies, they're not getting paid even 3% of the movie. Or like,
Of,
or when people buy the scripts, they're not even getting 3% of that revenue.
of what revenue of the entire movie?
Yeah, from like production, like from what they're writing. So like every 3 years, like so the whole thing is like this is from Hollywood Reporter. Every 3 years, East and West branches of the Writers Guild represent over 11,000 writers of TV and film. They try to negotiate a new contract, and this time the negotiations have failed. And it's mainly what I've read from like different stuff from COVID and like pay from all that. They can't agree to payment,
Yeah.
and there's like apparently there's a wide gap between what the writers want, what studios are willing to offer. Um, they want obviously an increase in compensation. The union accused these Hollywood studios of holding to, and I quote, an immovable stance in talks that has betrayed a commitment to further devaluing the profession of writing. Basically saying they don't really care about the writers, but the writers are literally everything. You don't have any movies, any shows without these writers.
Right. They're literally the foundation of everything.
Exactly. And one of the big things because of this lengthy like this strike that's probably going to go on for a little while is it's kind of like a rule. Like no writers are allowed to write anything for TV, movies, anything at all. It's literally going to halt production on a lot of movies and shows.
Wait, but so explain that to me, because when you say all writers, like what does that group them in? Like
All the
obviously not all writers are just gonna stop. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like who's stopping? Who's not gonna who's going on strike right now? So,
everyone in that work with the Writers Guild. But the thing about that Writers Guild is all of those writers are like the some of the best writers in the world. Like they're professional writers, top of the film industry. So like all of these really good shows and series are just gonna be on pause. Like not on pause, but like some shows that have already been written, like that are supposed to come out in a couple years, or some shows that have been written like and like filmed and whatnot. Like they cannot. I mean, they will be put out, but like you'll see this effect in like a year or two. That you're going to see a lot of delays in different films and movies. Like, let's say a movie's supposed to come out in 2025, 2026. You're going to see a lot of delays on those kind of films. I know Stranger Things has already been delayed, and they like
because of that reason?
yeah for now. And I guarantee you, it's probably going to come out in like late 2025, 2026 now. That series because of the writer's strike. They can't do anything because the writers are on strike and the writers aren't
Yeah,
going to write for
that's
them.
insane.
And
Good for them.
topping oh yeah, for sure.
It's
I'm
awesome. Like,
we're with the writers. But
yeah.
topping this off because of this and because of the continuous writing of certain things like late night talk shows or Saturday Night Live, those are been postponed like for until the strike's over.
What?
Yeah, because they write a new script almost every day, every week.
Right. So okay, I don't. I guess I don't understand. So the writers for like Saturday Night Live versus the writer for a Marvel movie, they get paid the same percentage, like no matter what.
I'd have to look into that a little bit more,
Because that doesn't
but
make sense. That seems like two different worlds. You know, like how
I
are they going to go on strike for the same thing if they don't get paid the same anyways?
well from what I understand, you hire like from the guild, you hire different writers from the guild, and so they're not getting paid as much as they want to be paid.
Okay, and the guild has a price for the writers.
Yeah, it's
Like,
probably they probably have an average price that you would do clearly based on like the project,
right,
but they're none of them are getting paid like even remotely as much. Like the new like streamline for it is they want to be paid like 3%
3%.
for their work. They're not even getting 3%, which is
So
insane to me.
okay, okay. So what I'm still confused on is like I keep using Marvel as an example because I just feel like right now, entertainment wise, Marvel's like the biggest right now. Right,
Hmm.
they're on top.
Yeah.
So whoever the writers are for these Marvel movies, does Marvel hire them from the guild or do they hire them independently? You know what I mean?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. I really don't know. I'm pretty sure it's independently because a lot of screenplay, and screenwriters, you have to buy their scripts. You have to buy
Right,
their scripts from them, and they'll get royalties if they buy and you use a script based on
right.
certain
So how are those people gonna go on strike? It just doesn't seem like
because it's for residual pay, which is like a royalty for
right.
returns and like when you show it's just
So
reading up on it.
it's gonna be like all writers get a minimum of 3% across the board, like no matter what the job is.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from it. And what I'm also reading is just like a lot of this is coming from like streaming services too, because writers have to write like 8 to 12 episodes a season, and there's obviously different writers for every episode. But
Yeah,
like,
but it's still a lot though.
oh, for sure. But you got to remember, streaming services pump out more shows than like cable television, so it's a
Yeah,
lot. There's a lot more to do, and so they're not getting the pay that they deserve for how
yeah,
fast, how much they got to write, and how much work they're doing, basically.
and that's the entire entertainment industry right now. It's just streaming services,
Absolutely, and
like all
obviously,
these shows and everything.
COVID affected streaming too because it was all streaming, and
Yeah,
obviously
so that
that
was one
pushed
of the
everyone.
things that improved with COVID, though. I
Yes,
mean,
but that
everyone
it's
went to streaming. You know what I mean?
yeah, but you would think with COVID, it's more writers have to do more
Yeah,
because Netflix, like streaming, is all people had at the time. So it's like, well,
right.
Netflix and these big companies, Hulu and all that, are just like, okay, we need to start pushing out more content during COVID, no
So
matter
they're
what it takes.
probably doing
We
more work and not
exactly got it
right,
more ride more. We need more writers on board,
right.
basically, and they were not getting the compensation for the work they were doing there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the gist of it. I can keep you updated, but I mean, obviously, we're with the writers because they mean everything to the industry and they need to be paid just as equally as anyone else.
Yeah,
That's what I would leave off on, unless you have anything else to say.
that's all. Oh, I mean, I'm glad they're doing that, but
Yeah, and I will keep all updated. I promise. But yeah, other than that, if you want to look into it more, keep us educated. Please do, because we're trying our best to keep you all educated. But if we miss anything, then we'll own up to it. Thank you all so much for watching this new segment. Whether you're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, any podcast platform, or even YouTube, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Look at the links in our description for all our socials, our merch store, Saturday Your Mom for us, and we will see you next time.
Love.